everybody, and welcome to our travel show, No Limits. There's no limit to where we're going to go, right, Rob?
Right. You never know where we're going or where we will be going
Or where we've been, either.
or where we've been. That's even better.
Oh my goodness, and it's the fastest 30 minutes, because that's about how long we do, 30, 35, 40. Fastest 30 minutes of my week, I think, just about. Because there's so much to talk about when we talk about travel.
Yeah.
Speaking of travel, we didn't do a show last week because we were on the road. We were traveling. We went to Charlotte, North Carolina. Rob, you like North Carolina?
Yeah, I've been to North Carolina quite a few times. How was the trip? Tell us about the trip.
Trip was really good. We actually went for the ACC kickoff, which means all 17 teams that are in the football ACC conference, because let's face it, there's 18 teams in the ACC, but Notre Dame isn't in the football conference. So
Yeah.
they were not there. So all the other 17 teams in the conference were there. It's a 3-day conference. Basically, what they do is they bring in a head coach and 3 players from each team, and they have a 30-minute press conference. So the head coach talks for anywhere from 2, 3, 4 minutes, I'd say. And then they open it up to media questions, and the media can ask questions of the coach. Then, after about 10 or a little bit longer sometimes, depending on the coach, they would bring up one of the players, and he'd have a couple, like 5 minutes, and then the next player, and then the next player. And then after 30 minutes, the room is done, the press conference is done, and all of them go into a separate room, and they can speak. You can speak to them individually, one on one, if you want. But
Oh, great.
everybody's trying to do that, and
Yeah.
they do that for about. They take the coach to the ACC network because they were filming this live. So they brought them on the set, and they talked for a couple minutes, and then they brought him into the room. But then they would talk for anywhere from 15, 20 minutes, sometimes longer. So the first day, this was our first ACC kickoff, so we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know about the whole breakout room, really, and kind of what to do. So the second day, we really got into our groove, and we'd do the press conference, and then we'd run over to the other room, and then we would talk a little bit and see if we could get a question in with some, if not all of them. So, like, Scott got a question in with Bill Belichick. Scott got a
Great.
question in with Bill O'Brien. He actually did a little blurb outside the conference with Bill O'Brien, and then with, Jeff Brom.
Oh,
Uh, so it was really good. He got some questions in with some of the players. We did not do that really the first day. So, like, all the Miami was the first day. So the first day was Florida State, Miami. Let me think. Who else was on the first day? Oh, I'm trying to think who all was there. It was Miami, Florida State. Let's see. I can see in a minute because I can know by the ones that I recorded. Uh, Mike Norvell. So it was Florida State. It was Virginia. It was Boston College, and there was only like 5 of them the first day, and then it was NC State, so they were uh, the first day too. So we didn't get a lot of extra questions in with them, but like the second day, then we went into the other room, and the third day, so we got a question with Bill Belichick,
great.
Manny Diaz from Duke. It was really funny because in one of the press conferences, I I forget which one it was, but Scott, you raise your hand and the moderator would call on you.
Yeah.
And so he was raising his hand and raising his hand, and the moderator wasn't calling on him. The moderator wasn't calling on him. The moderator wasn't calling on him. Finally, the coach called up. The coach called him. So it
I've
was
had that
really,
happen.
yeah, yeah. So that was funny. So he's like, your hand has been raised for so long. Um, he goes, why don't I let you talk? Ask me a question. So I thought that was cute, um, but yeah. So we did that. That was Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we drove up Monday. We couldn't decide where we wanted to stay Monday night on the way up. And at one point, we're like, oh, let's stay in Savannah. Because, I mean, it's so many hours just to get out of Florida.
Oh yeah, I know. Done it.
And um, it was so we're driving and we're like, and we didn't get off to the earliest start. I had to take my cats to the vet to board them that morning. So
Oh,
I'm like,
okay.
it doesn't pay to take them Friday or Saturday. Then you're paying for extra days that you don't need really.
Yeah,
So
true.
we took them up and we board them at the vet, which is about the same cost as other places. Um, but so we left a little bit later. We drove, and we're like, oh, should we stop in Savannah? Um, but we're like, it was like 9 o'clock at night. And we're like, we're not ready. We're still wide awake. I'm like, let's keep going. Let's keep going. So we kept driving, kept driving. And we had called, and the hotel that we were staying in Tuesday night, we called, and they said you could get in, you could still check in as late as 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, okay, that's really unusual. Normally, they don't, but um, so we drove through, and we got there about a little after 1 o'clock in the morning, and we said we wanted to check in. He's like, okay, and so he let us check in because we had already reserved the night for Tuesday night.
Yeah.
This was Monday night, Tuesday
Okay.
morning early. So he's like, yeah, he goes, you can, he goes, I'll check you in, and stuff like that. So he did. And he goes, because the date had already flipped, he just checked us in early and he
That,
didn't
oh, that
charge us anything.
that's pretty good.
So we got like 1.5 nights for the price of one.
That's a pretty good deal. Usually that does not happen.
No,
I
no.
do you want to say what hotel it was?
It was a Days Inn.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And it was not the best neighborhood, but I didn't know that when we booked. When you book online, you kind of look and you look, and we we were at the conference was held at the Hilton Uptown in down in Charlotte.
Okay.
So we wanted something that wasn't far from that because we knew the conference started Wednesday morning at breakfast was from 7:30 till 9, and then the conference started at 9. And I had tried to get into the Hilton, but the Hilton was completely booked
Of
Tuesday
course.
night. But I could get in Wednesday, Thursday, and Thursday night with the Hilton. So I'm like, okay, so I booked the Hilton for Wednesday night and Thursday night, knowing that we'd probably be tired doing press. I mean, they did back to back to back press conferences, so they started at 9 in the morning and they were done at like 4. So like it was
Yeah,
constant, and it
that's a
was every
long day.
hour on the hour they were doing the conferences, and then you can go in the other room, in the small room in between. They didn't even really break for lunch. Like they just put it. You could go down there if you wanted to, but then you'd be missing out of the whole back to back to
Yeah,
back.
so that's rough. That's a long day.
That is. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, let's just stay at the Hilton. I know it's a little more expensive, but and when we had called the Hilton and said to make the reservation and said that they were booked Tuesday night, we're like, well, what's close? What else? Well, they're like, well, we have a sister one that you could, but they're booked. And then they said Days Inn was part of their. I don't. They said about the Days Inn, and I should call them back and say I wouldn't really recommend it. It wasn't the cleanest hotel, but you're sleeping there one night, and well, we did 1.5 nights.
Yeah, 2 nights almost.
Yes, almost. I get, but they did it for one night for the same price of one, so I really can't complain about that. The one lesson I would say, lesson learned, is though that so we actually stayed in. Now that I think about it, we stayed in a hotel room on the way back on Friday. No, Friday. So Wednesday through Friday was the conference. Friday we decided to head east because we wanted to go to James Catfish Hunter's grave, and
Yeah.
he's in Hertford, North Carolina, which is almost like on the Outer Banks. Like it's way out there. So on our way out there, we're like, oh, let's stop at at a hotel, and we did. And lesson learned, because we're talking about hotels tonight. Lesson learned is if you ever are on the road and you're just gonna stop, and you want to stop at a hotel, what I would highly, highly recommend before you bring out the credit card and they say, yeah, we've got a room, go check out the room first because we had given the credit card and everything like that. She gave us the keys. We went to the room and the AC didn't work. And so then I had to go
Uh,
back and say, "Oh, the AC is not
yeah.
working." And so then she's like, "Okay, that's fine. We'll give you a different room." And she did, but basically it was a hotel that I think they don't get a lot of people there. And so they keep the AC off and they just turn it on when somebody gets there. Well, the problem with that is North Carolina, they've been having a hot, hot summer, and to cool off the room, it took hours.
Ugh, I couldn't deal with that.
So, lesson learned. Yeah, so we stayed there, and then on the way back, we stayed one night, and that was a nicer. I'm trying to think what that was, but I learned lesson learned. Okay, can I see the room before I pay for the room and stuff like that? So,
Yeah, that's a good lesson to learn. And sometimes I don't get I don't get things because low budget. Okay, it's low budget, mid budget, whatever. If I'm going to own a property, I don't care what it is. I'm going to keep it clean. I just don't understand. First of all, I don't understand. It's either the laziness, poor ownership's not on the property, the workers could care less, the
mhm,
guests are pigs or whatever. And what else is going on in those hotels? We don't know.
right.
But how do they pass inspections? Is there greasing of the palms? What's going on? It has to be because some of these places, and I've seen stuff on TikTok with where they went to one-star places, and I'm just saying to myself, someone's got to be paying someone because this place is disgusting. How do they get away with it?
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know, but um all the other hotels were fine. They were cleaner. Um I think and part of it I noticed is some of these what I would say budget hotels are allowing pets these days.
Yeah,
And more of those, and I think some of those you would think that they would keep those to a better standard and not necessarily.
because here's something with that. You want to travel with your pet, but you don't want your pet to get fleas or whatever's going on. So yeah, I could see that. But sometimes they have you. You don't have a choice. Your pet's with you, and they're the hotel or motel that's taking pets. So you're stuck.
Hmm.
But I understand. So you visited Catfish Hunter's grave.
Yeah, I was really surprised because it's actually in the outfield of his high school where he played, where it all started.
Oh,
Literally,
really?
literally, if you hit a home run over the fence, you could hit a gravesite. You wouldn't hit his because his is a little bit further away. But yeah, you would hit. I'm like, I've never seen a cemetery that close to a high school,
But
especially a high school baseball field. But I
but
get
Yeah, but if you hit a ball and it hits a grave, is that considered a dead ball?
it. But bump.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But so yeah, we visited his gravesite, and then we drove down to a little town called Smithfield, and we visited with Barry Foote. And Barry Foote actually invited us into his man cave, which is his "I Love Me" uh, cave, and it has all kinds of memorabilia. And
That's
like I
great.
learned things about Barry that I didn't know. Like his dad played professional in the MLB, he played, and his son played in MLB. So all three of them. So he's got a spot where he's got all their uniforms up in there, and he's got some old seats from old Comiskey Park when he managed there, and they closed. He's got each of his different uniforms that he wore as either a player or as a manager on the wall and then articles and things like that. He's got a letter from uh, someone from Japan that wrote him years ago, years and years ago, that was a fan. But so he's got a lot of different memorabilia, and that was cool. And actually, I I don't know if I don't know if that I put the video up on this and our on our destination discoveries yet, but it will. If it's not there now, it will go up
Yeah.
about his man cave. So that was just cool. And he actually, we did a video, and I asked him some questions, and he narrated what was on the wall and what we were looking at. So that was, I thought, really cool.
That's pretty cool. And for our New York people out there, he did play for the New York Yankees.
Yes, yes. And Fort Lauderdale Yankees down here, he was part of too. Back in the day. That's where he met Scott, was with the Fort Lauderdale Yankees.
Yeah, so that was a pretty nice trip, right? How
Yes.
how how was the drive though?
It was fine. It wasn't bad. It only rained a little bit when Scott was driving on the way up. Luckily, we missed the rain coming back down, which was great. Um, we didn't have any problems. I mean, gas isn't cheap, but hey,
Yeah.
but being able to stop wherever and whenever you wanted to, that's always a plus too. You're not restricted. Oh, I can only have luggage that has so much in it, and this and that, and it allows you to do those side trips. Like we wouldn't have gone to Catfish Hunters or visited Barry had we flown to Charlotte and flown right
Yeah.
back.
No, that definitely was worth it. I got a quick North Carolina story that's pretty cool. I was driving to Florida in 1994, and we're driving. All of a sudden, it starts to get cloudy. It starts to hail. It starts to rain heavy. I can't see anything in front of me. And all of a sudden, the emergency broadcast system goes off on the radio in my car, and it says tornadoes touching down in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And I look up, and it says next 4 exits Fayetteville. I look to the left, and there is a tornado coming straight towards my car.
Oh
And I'm
my
like, okay, we're getting off and we're going to a hotel. And I take the exit. And as I'm taking the exit, I see the tornado coming closer and closer. Just made it to the motel. I think it was a Days Inn actually. And I said, you know what? Instead of driving further, we're just going to stay here for the night. So that's my crazy
wow.
North Carolina story where I actually saw a full tornado in front of me, and then they were hit pretty bad. So it's lucky that I got off.
I can only imagine. I mean, with that being said, I want to send out some prayers. There was a tornado that touched down today in Wisconsin, in Menasha and Appleton area, and I've seen some of the destruction already. And it's just, you know, pe- people talk to me because I used to live up in Wisconsin, and most people know that. And people down here, people up there are like, how can you move down south where there's hurricanes? They're horrible. Like you can be without power for weeks and stuff like that. And I said, you're correct, but the one thing I will say about a hurricane, you are forewarned.
Yes.
A tornado, you have very little warning.
No.
And
You.
I'll admit, we don't have basements down here, so we can't go down in a basement like you can. Obviously, you wouldn't want to because with a hurricane, a lot of it's water too. But that's one of the big differences between living up, in Wisconsin. Hey, tornadoes can happen anytime, and you hate to see that kind of weather
Yeah,
anytime.
and like you said, at least with hurricanes, you are forewarned. You know it's coming, and they're basically good. That's one of the weather things that they're pretty good with. You know,
Yes.
they're not good with snow prediction. They're not good with rain a lot of times, but a hurricane, they know. So
Hmm.
I agree with you. And it must have been great to see Barry Foot's man cave. Would have loved that. That's anytime you could go into a former major league player and manager's man cave, that's a treat.
It was, and I want a special shout out to him and his wife for letting us do that because I was not expecting him to allow us to video it, much less invite us to his home. Um, but it was a great afternoon spending with them and seeing that, and then the thrill of letting him like narrate with me, asking questions about different things in his man cave. That was cool too.
That's great. And I have a quick man cave story too. I had Butch Patrick on our show, on the our baseball show.
Mm-hmm.
His stepfather played for the Yankees. So he played Eddie Munster on the Munsters. So
Ooh, okay.
when he was on the show, he said, "You want to see my man cave?" Of course we do. So he actually took his camera with him, whatever he was, talking to us
Mm-hmm.
on. He went into his man cave and he narrated. He told us everything. He had stuff from the set of the Munsters. He had everything. So I know what you're talking about, and that was a thrill for our audience because they actually got to see all the stuff he had, and he had a lot of stuff. So I know what you're saying. Nice of these people to do things like that.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And they don't have to, but they opened their home to us, which was cool. Um, but yeah, so drive home, we stayed in two different hotels because we got a little later start. We spent time with Barry at his place for a while, and so then we decided to stop and um, take take in one. And I'm trying to think where we were. We had just gotten through. We were past Savannah, um, but we decided to stay. And I'm trying to think what the name of the hotel was. But the first thing I did is I asked, "Can I see the room first?" So, I mean, that's a tidbit for any of you that are watching, any of you that
Really?
uh, start, road tripping or whatever, and you all of a sudden you find yourself in a need of, finding a hotel room. One of the things you want to do is obviously price matters to some, at least I should say. Name matters to some, but I would ask to see the room before you pay. Um,
Yeah, that's definitely a good tip because I don't know how you guys did it with the air conditioning taking so long. It's like that's the one comfort that I have to have working. It's like can't
mhm,
can't. So that's a good tip, really. Check out the room, make sure
mhm.
everything works.
Correct, correct. We've gone in rooms before that, like the TV didn't work, or and it was kind of funny because I told Scott, I said, I think on this trip, I don't we turned the TV on one night. That was it. I don't normally, like, that's one thing you always do is you just sit,
Yeah.
lay back and you relax and you watch a little TV. We didn't even do that. We were just so tired and exhausted. Um, but the feel of the bed obviously matters to some
Oh
people,
yeah. No, it
and
it matters. How clean the hotel is matters to most people.
mhm,
Um, the area, but you're right. Sometimes when you book it on um, say booking.com or something like that, you don't you really don't always know the area. You really have to just check the reviews out and check it out because you don't want to be sleeping at night and bullets flying through
and
the
the other
window.
thing is with booking from like a third party like that, like booking.com or one of these third parties, if you don't like the hotel, you have to go back through your third party. You can't,
Yeah,
once you get to the hotel, you have no rights to, not take it or whatever. I mean, you obviously you don't have to take it, but you're going to be charged.
yeah.
That is one of the things we found out too. So we typically do not use third parties because we've had an issue before where I forget what it was. We wanted a certain room, and when we booked it through the third party, something got discombobulated or whatever, and it wasn't the right room, it wasn't the right size, and I don't even remember all, but they wouldn't do anything because they're like, you booked it through a third party. Or we didn't like the room that it was, and he's like, there's nothing you can do. You booked through a third party, it's done.
Yeah.
So just be careful that if you're doing that, you know the third party or you know the rules of the third party, uh, especially these days. The other thing is do they provide breakfast? Do they not provide breakfast? What is breakfast?
Yeah.
Some of
What
these
is it?
some of these places, oh yeah, we provide breakfast, and it's let's see, toast and yogurt and some fruit, maybe some cereal, maybe waffles. You never know, like, and then some of them it's full bound whole breakfast spread. So
Yeah.
ask questions.
Most of those small hotels have like continental breakfast, they call it. Now, if you go to Europe, they have full breakfasts like you can't believe. But it's different here. So yeah, check out where you're booking, who you're booking from, definitely. And sometimes, you could call a third party, get a price, and then you could call the hotel direct and say, I got this price from booking.com, say. And, they might match it. So you could also do that.
Yeah, they'll tell you. They'll say I can't match that, or I can, or do you have anything else? Like AAA, do you have
Yeah.
ARP, some of those. And I will, the other thing is, the other tip that I will say about traveling, well, and one of the things you want to check is, do they have free parking? Because now when we stayed at the Hilton in Uptown Charlotte, which is downtown Charlotte, they do not, they charge you for parking.
Yes.
When I say charge you for parking, we're not talking cheap
No,
parking.
you're right. Go listen. If you go to Manhattan, if you go to Boston, if you go to any big city, you're paying for parking at that hotel. And you're right. It's not cheap at all. It's not cheap at all.
I think valet was something like $42 or $48 a night.
Which try that in Manhattan. Try that, like I said, in Boston. Forget about it. I'm sure it's probably like 80 to 100 a
Hmm.
night. In Manhattan, maybe more. So yeah, you're right. It's just it's out of control now.
It is. It is. It's pretty crazy. I lost my train of thought because I was gonna go a different direction too there. Oh, I was gonna say the other thing is a lot of credit cards have reward programs, and some of
Right.
them have travel reward programs. So I can say that one of the credit cards I used has a travel reward, and I get an annual benefit. I get, if I book a hotel through the travel, I get $100 back every year. So obviously, you book, I booked the Hilton. That's going to be more than $100 a night. I'm going to get my $100 back. So sometimes you should look through your credit cards to see what kind of bonuses you can get, because sometimes you have percentages off some of these.
Yeah, and also some of the bonuses, like you said, are really really good. If you have a Hilton Mastercard, or I used to have a Delta, and I had so many points that I got to fly to Hawaii first class, and it only cost me like $12 each for two
Mhm.
people to fly first class from New York to Hawaii to Honolulu. So think about that. I have an NCL, Norwegian Cruise Line credit card. So with that, I get upgrades when I go on a cruise. If I've been comped a bunch of cruises, but if I have to pay for one, it's good to have that card because you get comps with it too, like you get upgrades or whatever. So it's good to check out your credit cards. And if you love to travel, get some cards. I mean, if you're using cards anyway, you might as well get bonuses with it.
Oh, definitely, definitely. No matter who you're gonna get the card through, definitely make sure you're getting bonuses and maximize your bonuses. Learn what bonuses there are, and a lot of times that's in some of the fine print that most people don't even know. And there's cards, if you are a traveler and let's say you like a lot of foreign travel, you might want a card that doesn't give you any foreign transaction fees. Because if
Yeah, oh
you're
yeah, that's
one of these
I
cruisers and you stop at all these different ports and
yeah.
you're buying a little souvenir here and a little souvenir there, how many fees do you want to be charged?
Discover used to be good when I went to Italy. and Switzerland Discover was good because they didn't charge any fees like that. So I just used my Discover card for, anytime I bought something. So you're right. That's another good tip. Definitely a good tip.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is some of these hotels, when you travel, you actually can exchange currency at some
Yes.
of them. So that's another thing. Like sometimes people think that they've got to go over there with a lot of currency, and you can get some foreign currency. Most banks now, I should say this: some banks have foreign currency or have the ability to get you foreign currency. A lot of banks, you can't just walk in and expect to get whatever foreign currency you want up front. You have to order it.
Yeah.
But there are some hotels that will give you foreign, or you can buy foreign currency from them instead of trying to get, oh, let me get a cash advance from an ATM machine and pay how much because it's a
Yes.
foreign, and fee on top of fee on top of fee.
So here's a good question. Since you've taken cruises
Hmm.
in other countries, did the cruise ship you go on handle currency exchange?
We never tried it.
Okay.
I'll be
See,
honest,
next
I didn't try
time.
it because what I did was before I went, I got a card that there's no foreign transaction fees, so I
There
was
you go.
okay using a credit card over there. I felt very safe using my credit card. I would not use a debit card for any of you that are traveling. I would not recommend using
No.
debit cards overseas.
Nope.
Here's, I don't even, I'll be honest with you. I work for a bank. I'm not going to get into which one on the show,
Yeah.
but I
Of
work
course.
for a bank and I wouldn't recommend debit cards. I mean, as much as you want debit cards, yes, you want to have them. You can use them for ATMs all day long, but you don't earn rewards. So, like, use your credit card. And the other thing is I tell people use credit cards because I said if there's any fraud out there, it's the bank's money that they're using, not your money that you're using. That all of a sudden you can't pay your rent or mortgage because some fraudsters cleaned you out of your bank account.
Oh, I agree with you. I am not using my debit card in a different country. I'm not using my debit card to pay for anything in any stores or anywhere. I'm using just a regular credit card, which is that is a good tip because, like you said, they're taking your money. If there's a fraudster, your money's gone. At least with the credit card, you have the bank. You let them know what happened, and then they take care of it. You got to go through a lot with a debit card, as you know. You said you work for a bank, so it's
Yes.
crazy.
Yes, exactly. So, oh my goodness. See, I told you it would be the fastest 30 minutes. Is that we're more than
Yeah,
30 minutes in already? Can you believe that?
yeah. We
And
didn't
we
get
didn't
to
even talk
half of
about
it.
the whole reason we were going to start this conversation was we were going to talk about the world's most valuable hotel companies.
We'll get to that next week. Oh,
We'll
good.
have to do that next week. Boy, oh
Sounds
boy.
good.
Well,
It just
Rob, how can people find you?
NYMLB talk everywhere because now we are just everywhere. And on Wednesday night, your show, the Sports Exchange.
The Sports
So,
Exchange. Yeah.
so
Awesome.
I'm everywhere. Just look at NYMLB talk, and it was fun again. I love talking about travel. I'm talking about baseball all the time, so it's good to switch every once in a while.
It is, and it's so easy because there's so many different parts of travel we can talk about. I mean, think about it. We just started talking about hotels, and we didn't even get to all of the hotel
I
things that we
know.
were going to talk about.
I know,
Oh, but
but
it's awesome.
it's a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it, Candy.
It is. Me too. Well, I'm going to do a quick plug.
Okay.
My husband wrote a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is about media and his time in the media business, which has been over 40 years. I can't believe that. There's a picture of him with a young Muhammad Ali. Go get the copy of the book so you can see the picture and hear all the different stories. And if you're trying to get into media, it's a great tool to help you learn some of the business and some of the struggles he had and everything like that. The book's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. The audiobook is also out there. There's a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where we have a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Monday nights, we do travel, and then we do baseball. Tuesday nights, we do football. Wednesday nights, anything goes besides on Scott's Motor City Mad Mall show and then Sports Exchange. Thursday nights, it's either soccer or hockey, depending on who his guests are and what's happening. So right now it's soccer. And then Fire Up, the country club, as Scott affectionately calls it. We talk sports, but it's the one that I lead instead of the one that he leads. So we have fun. So any night we've got different things happening. So definitely check us out. If you had not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. We have 2 different channels. So the one that you see up in the upper corner is our Destination Discoveries, which is where we do all our things travel. And we wanted to bring this to you. Here's the new logo, Destination Discoveries Media Network. That's where we're broadcasting. Well, we're broadcasting this to both, but that's what really started it. We decided we travel. We're like, okay, let's do another YouTube channel because we didn't have enough going on in our lives anyways.
That's right.
But everybody loves talking about travel. They love seeing it. It's something you'll go back and say, hey, I'm thinking about going to Paris. Should I visit? And hey, if we have a video up there, you can check it out and see.
Yeah.
We've been there. It's always good to see what other people have done and seen. And if there's ones that you don't want to go to, maybe we'll put those up there as well. So you just never know. So with that being said, Rob, oh my goodness, 37 minutes. I went by so fast.
It did. I'll see you next week. I'll actually see you Wednesday on the Sports Exchange, but we'll see everyone out there next week, and we promise we'll talk about hotels and hotel chains next week.
And we might talk a little bit about airlines too.
That's good.
We'll see. Because, that's all part of traveling too. So with that being said, everybody have a wonderful week, and we'll see you back next week, Monday, same time, same channel. Thanks, everybody.